Hi guys, my name is Clayton Taylor here with my brother Dylan, and this is Pursuing the Truth podcast. Now when it comes to learning and pursuing the truth, me and my brother are truly addicted. We absolutely love to learn, and we always have. So in this podcast, we take a relevant topic for today's audience and see what we can learn from each other in pursuit of the truth. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Clayton, I feel like it's been a while since we've caught up. How's your week been?
I know, man. It's been good. Same old. Just actually talking from, last week, I've been trying to implement some new habits and kind of create a new identity for myself and kind of some things that I do. So it's been good.
You were telling me a little bit about that. You were saying that trying to get a better, healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
And starting a new diet, right?
Yeah. So, well, actually, hopefully identity, right? Just going off of that, like I read Atomic Habits.
And I finished it too. I'm very impressed with the book.
Yeah, it's just life-changing, I think.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized like I have so many micro bad habits. I mean, the whole book Atomic Habits, it was like a very, very small change in your daily life, right? That's what atomic means.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I got so many bad habits. My diet is absolutely terrible. Like there's so many small things that I do poorly on a day-to-day basis that have my trajectory of life kind of just headed downwards, and I can't tell, you can't tell change now, but you will eventually. And I was like, man, the way that I eat, so some days
That's a lot.
Yeah. Like I won't eat anything until like 2:00 because of my job. And when I do, it's like some type of ridiculously bad fast food. And so, yeah, I just decided to kind of go on the fast, and it's a spiritual journey as well as like physical and mental.
Yeah.
So
what type of diet are you starting? Or
yes. So
new identity?
I did 3 days no fast or 3 days no water. I'm sorry.
No water?
Sorry, no. 3 days no food, only water, just to kind of cleanse the system. Then I'm going to do the Daniel fast. Okay, that was mental. That was
I bet
like,
it was.
You actually don't realize it, but you're addicted to food and you start like craving food so bad. It's kind of, it's really crazy how the mind works. Food is like a drug, and you really see that once you go a couple days without it. And then from that, I'm transitioning to like a 21-day Daniel fast where it's no meat. It's vegetables, fruits, like legumes, so beans, and then some oats.
So pretty much like a vegan lifestyle for 21 days.
Pretty much.
Like staying away from all type of meats.
Staying away from all type of meats, every processed food, any type of like milk, dairy, even butter. The only thing that I'm using is like some pepper or something. Like literally nothing but raw.
Wow.
Just to kind of like build some of those good habits as well and stuff.
Yeah. And you've done that for a week so far? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's been 10 days. So I did a 3-day like fast, and then I'm on a week of this diet. So yeah.
Wow. Have you seen or felt any improvements in your lifestyle since? I know it's only been, 10 days.
Right. I mean, I'm not a very fat person, but I've lost some like fat, looking a bit thinner or leaner, I guess. Honestly,
I feel healthier or like more energy right now. Sometimes it can take a while.
Yeah, I can't tell too many immediate differences, but I do know that my overall brain functioning is better. That's kind of hard
Sharper
to say. Yeah, I feel sharper. Like I wake up now in the morning and like sometimes I used to be like, oh, I'll just sleep in or hit the snooze button. I'm like, I really hate the snooze button now. I just wake up and I'm like, let's go ahead and just, my 3 habits that I've been trying to build is to go to the gym, do my yoga for my back, and then like just eat properly, eat healthy,
Nice. Yeah.
And so I'm just like, let's get up, just go ahead and do that. So anyways,
wow,
that's just kind of what's been going on for me. What about you? Anything new? It has been a while since we talked.
Yeah, nothing much. I've just been working a lot. Starting to see a lot more COVID patients coming into the hospital. Kind of sad to see.
could I stop you there for a second? Is there
Yeah.
like how detrimental is that second chain or something or
The
branch? I'm
Delta
sorry.
variant.
Yeah, like are you
So I
actually
don't
seeing
know.
so many new patients that's just crazy, or is it just coming
Yeah,
around again?
no, it's when we went through March, April, May, and June of like this year, so currently 2021, we actually saw a pretty significant decrease after people have gotten vaccinated. Um, and there weren't a lot of people coming in with COVID, but within these last 2 or 3 months of July, August, and September, and halfway through September now, uh, COVID's back. I've been saying it for like the last 3 or 4 weeks, unfortunately.
Wow.
We at our highest, we had about 150 admitted patients with COVID in the hospital.
Okay.
And for context, like in June, I think we were almost at, I want to say like less than 10. And then July we were at like 20. August we were at like 70. And I just got an email last week that says we're at 128.
Gosh.
So we're almost back to peak COVID levels. But the Delta variant, I don't know enough information to say it's worse. The only thing is it's definitely different. Just like with the flu, there's variants each year, and so you need to get an updated vaccine or updated shot to protect yourself against the different variants, just like the flu has been for the last 30 years. I actually had a professor that created flu vaccines for 30 plus years, and he was saying that the way they create the vaccine is they predict what the next year's top 2 or 3 biggest variants of the flu is going to be, because there's hundreds. I think there's over 300 different types of flu that can be out. And so there's a lot of statistics and research that goes into trying to figure out the next year's biggest variants. And then they'll create the vaccine for that previous year to hopefully protect against the 2 or 3 biggest ones. So we're kind of seeing the same thing with COVID, where the first strand was out, and so now there's another one out. It's going to be pretty similar to the flu. So I don't know if it's worse. I don't know if it's more mild, but regardless, there's a lot of people coming in to the hospital, most of them unvaccinated. I think right now there's like 8% that are coming back that have been vaccinated. But
so way lesser number than you hear all these people talking about. Like you hear everyone getting, I got the vaccine and then I got COVID, but that's only 8%.
But I mean,
right?
You think about it, that's what people are going to talk about, right? That's the big news. Is
they're not going to talk about,
I got vaccinated,
I got it and didn't have it.
Right. Who's going to say I didn't get vaccinated and I still got COVID? Like it
True.
looks bad on them, and no one wants to talk about that. So all the rumors and the hype are in, the people that get it, you get the vaccine and then go back and get it. But right now the numbers are looking like 92% of people that are vaccinated are not the people that come back with COVID. So anyways, just seeing a lot of that recently in the last week. And some patients pretty rocked by it. So anyways, other than that, it's been a pretty good, pretty steady week, so I can't complain. But talking about your healthy lifestyle, that's actually great, because the topic that I wanted to talk about today was the idea of staying healthy for life. And so the fact that you're already like starting a healthy lifestyle and forming those good habits is great, leading into what we're talking about today. And I took your recommendation, as I hope some of our listeners did as well, about reading Atomic Habits. And I loved it. I thought it was a great book. And the book that played right after that for me, it was a book called Ultra Marathon Man by Dean. Let me see his last name. Dean Karnazes. And that really, really inspired me to try to start living a healthy lifestyle. And to summarize the book in like 3 or 4 sentences, the guy just ran all of his life, quit for about 20 or 30 years, had a, corporate business job, and then started slowly picking up running again, fell in love with it. And he started doing marathons, and he couldn't get enough. So he started doing ultra marathons, which was like 100-mile distances. And I think to date, the longest run he's done is 267 miles.
Oh my
without stopping.
Oh
going
my
through the night,
gosh.
through 2 or 3 nights of running. And so now what
Oh
he
my
does, he'll do
goodness.
marathons just for regular runs. Like when he gets off of he still works his 9 to 5. Like he never
What?
quit his 9 to 5 job. This is just his hobby that takes over the rest of his lifestyle. And it's just like an overwhelming passion of his. But it just inspired me to maybe get back into running and, doing some things that are healthier for me in the long term. So anyways, I wanted to talk about that today. And I just want to talk about the inspiration that he gave me, and just trying to live, a healthier lifestyle, because there's so many people, especially working in the hospital setting, that come into the hospital because of their unhealthy lifestyles at home. And there's just so much that a healthy lifestyle can play into that, into having just a better overall outcome in your life.
Yeah.
So,
Dude,
yeah.
okay. So get this. When you said he ran 267 miles without stopping. So get this. We live in Virginia. Virginia is 200 miles wide.
Yeah.
So he literally ran to a different state.
Yeah, without stopping.
Without stopping.
Yeah.
That's
And in his
insanity.
book, like some of the questions would be, how do you get all those calories? How do you get all that food? He's got some crazy stories, but one of them is where he lives in California. There's a special pizza place that you don't actually need a home address to order your pizza from. You just tell them the location of where you're going to be at.
What?
And so he would approximate where he would be in, an hour, and call this pizza place and say, meet me on the corner of this street and that street. And they would literally meet him at the corner, and he would run there and pay them for the pizza. And then they would leave. And in one hand, he would carry a large, 5-topping pizza. And in the other hand, he would just be shoving it down his throat as he kept running.
Gosh, what an animal, man.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And so he would burn through so many calories that he needed actually like unhealthy and processed foods in order to just have enough carb intake so he could burn it all.
Wow.
So he was just burning through calories, and the way he got food in was crazy. But
yeah,
he's absolutely a crazy guy. And I actually had an exercise physiology teacher in college. His name was David Horton, and he's one of my favorite professors, but he's an ultra marathon runner as well. And when he was in his 50s, I think maybe late 40s, he ran from California to New York without stopping.
California to New York.
Yeah, let that settle in your mind.
Hold on a
over
second. I gotta
2,000 miles.
No,
oh, it's over 2,000.
Hey, without stopping?
Okay, I take that back.
Hold up. That's I don't think that's physically possible.
He stopped, to sleep and stuff like this. Dean Karmazis did the 267 miles without sleeping. Like he just went through and ran. But David Horton, he might have stopped to sleep a little bit, but regardless, when he finished that race, held the third fastest time in the world of ever running that distance.
Wow.
And since then, he's ran the entire Appalachian Trail, which spans from Georgia to Maine, and he beat the record by 10 days.
10 days.
Smashing the old record by 10 days. I think the record has since been broken, but this was about 20 years ago when he was in his late 40s that he was doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Goodness. Yeah, he ran the PCT, the Pacific Crest Trail. I think that's also 2,000 miles, and it spans from Mexico up the west border into Canada, I believe. So,
wow,
it's just crazy, guys. I don't know. Even in the book, they were trying to explain what motivated them to do this, and they really didn't have a great answer outside of once you do it, you won't ask that question. That's kind of what Dean Karmazis boiled down his answer to, and people asked him why he loves it. But hearing people like that just inspires me to want to live a healthier lifestyle, because so often I'm tempted just to like sit at home and watch YouTube, or sit at home and do something unproductive. But even if it's 30 minutes or an hour of kind of suffering through a run or a workout, it makes the rest of your day so much better. And, like we were talking about those habits, if you can make that a habit, that turns into a great lifestyle daily for the rest of your life,
Yep, for sure. So it's cool. You've been listening to some of those books about, healthy lifestyle and atomic habits, kind of changed my mindset on how I kind of want to live the rest of my life and stuff. So we're both kind of on a quote unquote health kick in a way, or at least thinking about it. But it's really cool to think about the things that we do now, affecting our lives for like when we're 70 years old, So I was listening to this one dude and he was talking about, rock bottom. Everybody's got their rock bottom. But you don't necessarily have to have rock bottom in order to change, right? You can have something called the high bottom, where you're not where you want to be, but you can still make conscious decisions, and you're not at rock bottom where you've lost everything, where, maybe if we were talking about health, you let your health get away and I don't know, something crazy happens, or you find yourself like 200 pounds overweight and, you're having problems. But a high bottom is like where none of that has happened yet, So I'm trying to make
there's
some
a high
changes.
bottom. Is a high bottom kind of where you feel comfortable where you're at?
Yeah.
But you could be so much higher.
Yeah. Well, a high bottom is like
a
high bottom is like you're on the trajectory to hit rock bottom. Okay, you're on the trajectory, you're going down, but you realize it before you hit rock bottom. So maybe you can turn it around. And that's what I've been trying to do, So that book, I don't know, we're just talking about health. That book, Atomic Habits, it changed the way I look at life so much. And it's been so cool. Like I said, I got a gym membership, and literally my goal is not to get big. My goal is not to do any of this. Like I'm literally on this vegan diet. And I mean, obviously there's some bodybuilders that are vegan, but I'm literally just eating so small. My old me would have been like, man, why are you going to the gym? It's pointless. But my new me is like, I just want it to be an identity and a lifestyle. So I've just been hitting the gym every day, and it's been cool because like now I can be happy in the fact that I might not be getting bigger, or I might not be per se like eating all the right foods and hitting this specific goal, but like at the end of it, and at the end of all these small little things that I'm doing, I'm like, you know what? After today, I'm headed towards the right trajectory, and that's just kind of cool to see, I guess.
Yeah, that it really is. Yeah. And something else I learned from that book, and I was doing a little bit of research afterwards and just like talking about setting up your goals. They were even saying that, when we set up a goal and we strive for that goal, we're never happy until we reach that goal.
Yes.
But if we change our goals slightly, we can be happy throughout the whole time. So if, like, an example that I thought kind of hit home for me is if we set a goal to be, I want to be a certain weight at a certain time, and here's what I'm going to do to get it, then we're not going to be happy until we hit that certain weight at that certain time. But if we just changed that mentality ever so slightly to, I want to be the person that is known for going to the gym 5 days a week or whatever the case is, and that eats a healthy lifestyle, then every single day that you do that, you've already hit your goal and you're staying in that zone of like getting rewarded every day for hitting those goals. You've already hit your goal and you're just turning it into a lifestyle. So I thought that was really important. Yeah, and the other thing that I think that you had kind of brought up of, not trying to get the biggest, but trying to have a healthy lifestyle. You might have heard me say this before. I feel like I always categorize in my mind, whether it's right or wrong, that there's like two different types of exercise in my mind. There's working out to get bigger. So like weightlifting and, having a high calorie intake so you can actually get muscular and look externally bigger. Or there's the cardiovascular running, swimming, healthy lifestyle that is more internal. You don't see it as much externally outside of maybe shedding a few pounds, but internally, your arteries, your veins, your heart, your organs are healthy and you feel good on the inside. Your brain is functioning at a higher capacity. You don't feel groggy. And so for me, I think I've always shot for the working out and trying to get bigger, but the other way has less immediate awards. I think, you don't get to look in the mirror and like see that you have that much improvement.
Right. See the results.
But there's so many more long-term life-changing results from the second type of working out that I think are so important.
Yeah.
And I think both are valuable, but I think if we're looking for long-term health and improvement, it's the cardiovascular health, the running, the eating a healthy lifestyle, keeping low calorie intake in, that's really going to be beneficial in the long run.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'm just curious. I mean, you do work at a hospital, you see a bunch of different cases. How much, and I know that you can't probably quantify this as a, specific, perfect, factual statistic, but based on what you've seen, how many people does obesity affect? Like when somebody comes in to the hospital, how many people are affected like 10 times worse just by the fact that they don't have good habits about eating in their life? They're eating Mickey D's like crazy. Just, you know what I'm saying? The fast food, the bad life. How many people do you say?
I don't have a great number for obesity, but I think I can answer your question in a different way.
Okay.
Whenever I look at patients' charts, I look at their past medical history and things like hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, I see, and this is empirically, this is not, statistical evidence that I've sat down and calculated, but I would approximate that about 80% of the patients that come into the emergency department have all three of those: hypertension, diabetes, and high cholesterol. Which,
are you serious? That's insane, dude.
And so there's a term for that. It's called comorbidities. So someone can come in with an unrelated issue. Let's say, just trying to think of one off the top of my head. I don't know. Let's say they have an arm laceration, a cut to their arm. And that's probably not a great example. Let me think of another one, like chest pain.
Okay, right.
Chest pain is pretty serious. But for some patients, it can just be, maybe a muscular issue or something like that. But with patients with all these comorbidities, it makes everything so much worse. So since you have, diabetes, and since you have high cholesterol, well, now there's so much of a greater chance that chest pain was caused by having clogged arteries, or was caused by a number of different factors that can cause that chest pain, versus someone that is relatively healthy and having chest pain for the first time. It could still be something serious, but there's less of a chance of that with no comorbidities versus having, a number of different comorbidities. So I don't know if I can answer your question specifically with how badly does obesity affect the hospital setting, but comorbidities affect patient care tremendously. And a lot of the comorbidities that lead to obesity are very common in the hospital.
For sure. Goodness. So when a patient comes in and they're like, they eat good and have a good lifestyle, are you kind of surprised? Like, wow, this is a rarity.
Yeah. You don't see it very often. You really don't. The only times, I'm not going to say the only time, but most of the time when someone's relatively healthy, they're coming in for, maybe an accident, like they cut their hand on something or cut their leg on something.
Something unrelated.
I've definitely seen people that are healthy otherwise that still come in with, maybe an acute condition like shortness of breath or a heart issue or something like that, but it's far less common. And so the other good thing about not having comorbidities is that your recovery time is a lot faster, and your treatments can often be a lot better than someone that has a lot of comorbidities. Because if you have someone that, has this hypertension and diabetes, well, they're probably already on medications. And so if you come in for this unrelated issue, well, now you might have problems getting the best medication for you, because the other medications that you're on could react poorly with certain medications. So they have to change the medications and look for alternatives and try to figure out other ways to help this unrelated issue, all because of those comorbidities. So it just creates a lot of issues for the things that are related to, whatever your past medical history is, but even for the things that are unrelated that you might come to the emergency department with. So it just makes things a lot more complicated. Yeah, it does. Goodness. Yeah. That's even another factor for me, is just being in the hospital all the time. Even just for the fact of, I don't want to be the person that has to slow down the emergency department with another patient. So even that in itself makes me want to strive to have a healthier lifestyle. So someone that really needs to come into the emergency department can have a bed, can have a spot, can get looked at first. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of factors that are involved, but yeah, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was, I guess, the reasons why people choose, to eat unhealthy or to live an unhealthy lifestyle. And I want to hear your opinion on this. And I mean, I'll say it up front, I eat a very unhealthy lifestyle. So I'm right there along with the group. Right. But I think that probably the main reason that I can think of for doing that is because it gives you temporary satisfaction, or temporary, I can't find the word I'm looking for.
Like pleasure in just eating it.
Pleasure, but also it's easy. So, sometimes going to get fast food is a lot easier than standing over a hot oven and cooking for 2 hours or an hour and a half or whatever. So it also gives you, it's an easier route temporarily, versus the healthy lifestyle and the healthy diet and exercise, which I think don't give you that immediate satisfaction. They give you the long-term satisfaction. Yeah. But I want to hear, that's my 2 cents. I want to hear your thoughts on that as well.
No, I agree with you. Definitely. I think that to be able to go to Mickey D's or just wherever and get a burger is so easy compared to cooking and going to the grocery store. And honestly, let's be honest, everybody says, oh, eating healthy can taste good. Like, I think in the past, everybody was like, eating healthy tastes terrible. And so then, like, just cooks or people on, the Cooking Network, everybody's been trying to change your mentality. But let's be honest, like, really, if it comes down to it, the bad food for you actually does taste a lot better than some of the good food for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I'm on this like very strict, like, fast, Daniel fast, where it's literally, I can't have any complex anything, and it is so bland. So
I will say though, I think after you've been on a healthy lifestyle, or a relatively healthy lifestyle, long enough, that the benefits of how good you feel outweigh whatever bad taste the food is, or whatever good taste the bad food is.
Yeah,
because
totally.
I know for me, like, I wasn't on a completely strict no fast food lifestyle when I was training for the half Ironman, but I was trying to eat relatively healthy, like rice and chicken, and was trying to get my 3 meals in a day and not eat really big meals at night and all the healthy stuff that you're told. And as soon as I finished the race, I was like, you know what? I just want to go back to, having somewhat of a lifestyle again, not exercising and training all the time and not restricting my diet. And for a month or two after that, I just was in this groggy haze, and I really did not like the way I was feeling. And it was probably a combination of multiple things, of me not exercising like I was, of me eating unhealthy. But I remember it felt so weird. And I think it's only been in the last month that I've started to adjust to I guess, the unhealthy lifestyle I turned back to.
Yeah.
But
okay, well, so given time, it kind of cancels out the bad, is what you're saying.
I feel like it does. Yeah.
I mean, I feel
Given
like it
enough
does
time.
too. And I've only been doing it for like 10 days, but honestly, I can see myself maybe going forever and not having fast food, or on occasion, because I
Right.
don't know. Anyway, so I do think that it's just simple, it's easy. It tastes good. There's so many like, I guess, pros in the immediate gratification section for like fast food and just eating unhealthy. It's just so easy.
Even the small things like the social pressures, like it's whenever all your friends go out to eat, and you have to be the one that sits there with no food. Like we just had that happen a couple of days ago. I remember you weren't eating anything.
Yeah, it was awkward.
And I feel your pain. I remember I was at my friend's wedding, and it was actually, I had to travel about 4 hours away, and it was the day before the half Ironman. And so I was not going to eat unhealthy. I've read too much about the last 2 weeks really putting good food in your body.
Yeah.
And so I remember driving, 4 hours to the wedding, sitting down and eating with everyone else, and everyone is having, I think it was barbecue sandwiches with like macaroni and cheese, all the desserts you could think of. And I had to whip out my cold, stinky salmon with white rice.
Yeah.
And that's what I had for breakfast. That's what I had for lunch on the way up there. And then when I actually got up there and was sitting at the wedding party, I had to deal with all the questions like, do you not like their food? Why are you eating this? And I don't know, there's just social pressures that go along with it
that's a good point.
Make it uncomfortable as well. So
for sure.
Even if they're small, but
yeah. And everybody, yeah, I totally agree with that. Like it was very awkward having to say, "Oh, I'm not eating because I'm doing this," or yada yada yada.
Yeah, and then you got to explain yourself, and
yeah,
I don't know. Then it feels like you're
there's a lot
talking too much about what you're doing. Yeah,
and also I think people are slightly addicted as well. Like they literally put chemicals in the foods to make you double down and triple down. And there was a study done on some fast food chains, which I can't
McDonald's.
Remember. I think it was. Yeah. And D, were you telling me this? Were you the one that was telling me?
You know what I don't recall if I was or not.
Okay. Well, they put like this addictive, I have no clue, but it was a chemical that they put in it. And basically what it does is it overrides your stomach or your brain's function that tells you when you're full. So you go back for double and triple and quadruple, and you don't have the same effect. It takes you longer to have the feeling of getting full and just a lot of other stuff. So with all of it combined, I think that, eating healthy is just a rarity nowadays, because of all those things that we've mentioned. And also, I think that people just aren't educated. Like, so for instance, if your house is on fire, and you're inside your bedroom and it's not on fire, you don't know that your house is on fire unless somebody else tells you or unless you hear it. And then you have the option to believe it or not, So I feel like if people actually knew the truth and then believed the truth about having a healthy lifestyle, then they might be more inclined to change. But since they don't, that's probably an added factor as well,
That's true. Yeah. And there's even like marketing techniques and other things to make you want to desire, fast food or the unhealthy foods that make more money and that are easy to produce by companies. Like I know that the color red stimulates appetite and the color blue stimulates, like relaxation and coolness. So if you ever look at a lot of fast food packaging and marketing, it's typically red, orange, yellow, those bright colors which activate, your hunger. Look at McDonald's, it's red and yellow, right?
That's crazy.
Hardee's, I'm trying to think.
Hardee's, Burger King's,
Chick-fil-A is red. Yeah.
Red and white. Yeah.
So got those red colors in there. And I think going back to that chemical we were talking about, if I'm not mistaken, you have a chemical in your stomach called ghrelin, which is the hormone that activates your hunger sensation. And I don't remember a lot of details, but I think McDonald's has a chemical that activates that ghrelin even more. And so as you're eating their food, it's activating your ghrelin hormone, which tells your body that you're hungry still. So you would want to order more food. So there's definitely an addictive component to all of that.
Yeah.
It just makes the lifestyle easy, makes the lifestyle attractive, and added on top of that, the fact that it tastes good. It's a really hard habit to break, but
for sure,
a worthy one.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in the long run. And that's what I've just been kind of realizing is like, I'm not fat now by any means. Like, we're both very slim people, but I wonder if I continue down the road of just eating normal, like when I'm 50, when I'm 60, will I actually look different? And I think the answer is like, yeah, I'll look totally different. You know what I'm saying? It's going to catch up to me. And so anyways, I'm trying to make those small little habits now. And I think like also if people knew how not easy, but simple it is to change, they would do it, but they see it as such a big monumental task. Like, oh, I can't do this. It's too hard. But like in order to change, way to put it. Yeah. All you got to do is just say, you know what, this week I'm not having tea.
That's a good way to put it, because it's not easy, but it is simple.
Yes. Yeah. And you got to start out small.
Yeah.
And just build not a habit, but like we've kind of been learning, an identity.
Yeah.
Like, you know, after the first week, well, let's go second week. After the third week, okay. Fourth week, well, I've been a month without tea. How about like saying, well, I'm not the person who drinks tea anymore, and then just go from there, you know? And kind of build that. I don't know.
I definitely want to pursue, you know, staying healthy as a lifestyle as well. And like, I don't know if I want to spend a lot of my time training for like a half Ironman, but I definitely want to stay in that area of like maybe running 5Ks, or like there's even, I was looking up some smaller triathlons like a Olympic or a sprint triathlon, which are a lot shorter distances and things that, I don't know, I would really be interested in trying to do maybe one a year, or even more than that if I have the time for it, just to stay healthy. It's something I enjoy doing. And, you know, I always think back to one of our, I guess, mentors, one of our really close friends that he's about 70 years old now, but he had hiked the entire Appalachian Trail, and he's just a very healthy guy in general. And I remember him telling us a story about he went to one of his doctor's appointments, and because he's so healthy, they couldn't actually get a heart rate on this guy because it was so low. So he's in his 70s, and he had to run around the hospital twice before he was able to get his heart rate up high enough for them to actually record it. But that goes back to the testament of his healthy lifestyle throughout probably his like 50 years, or maybe even, you know, since he was a kid. So that's what I want to strive for, you know, is having a healthy lifestyle that I can be active when I'm 60, 70, 80 years old.
Yep. Not frequenting the hospital, you know?
Yeah.
Or at least trying not to. Obviously, crazy things happen in life, but if, you know, you could prevent that, definitely want to be on that side. So
exactly.
Yeah. Well, man, we are running out of time for this episode, but man, D, it's been great talking to you just about health and stuff, seeing your perspective, you know, from the hospital and some of the stuff that you see. So it's been good.
You as well. Yeah. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning into another podcast, and we will see you next time.